Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining in. So good to have you. Welcome to the debut edition of my podcast. Obviously, I produce a lot of content, but I have also decided to start a podcast series to help keep up with a little bit more contemporary issues, or really kind of more of the different articles and developments that catch my eye that don't really fit the other content formats. So I'm trying to keep this particular a piece of content, the podcast, to be a little bit more casual, a little bit more about talking about my thinking. And also my intent is to shoot them all in one shot. So it's going to be very little editing. You're going to see me referring to my notes on my screen and things like that. But really just trying to introduce a different type of content where maybe I can talk to you a little bit more directly. And also you can kind of, look over my shoulder as I'm reading different articles or just the different things that catch my eye from a data science leadership perspective. I have a lot of history in the field, a lot of experience behind me. So at this point in my career, different things catch my eye. So I thought I'd share some of those things with you. Maybe it'll be interesting to you too to see, how a chief data scientist looks at articles and different alerts that come my way. So my intent is to go anywhere from 3 to 5 different articles during every episode. I'll give you my thoughts on them. I'll also provide a screenshot on the screen so you can see the headlines that I'm referring to. And then I also might give out just different pieces of advice or things from my life or things about, what's coming up in episodes or whatnot. Just kind of mix things up and keep things a little bit different than a standard video release. So I think it'll be fun. I'm willing to listen to your feedback. So if there's something else that you want to change about the format or anything else, please leave it in the comments below. Also, please like and subscribe. It helps keep me motivated and helps the channel to grow, helps all the algorithms display my content a little bit more. So I appreciate it if you would take the time to do that. Again, it just kind of helps everything grow and, it keeps me motivated to keep on producing content for all of you. So today I'm looking at my notes over here and I'm seeing 3 different articles that I'd like to talk to you about, 3 different things that kind of caught my eye. And first of all, I'd like to start out with a shout out. I'd like to start out with a special shout out to Minect. If you are not familiar with Minect, that is one of Patrick Bet-David's companies, from Valuetainment. It's basically an executive consulting website where if you have a question on event planning or on data science or on bodybuilding or on crypto or whatever you'd like, there's experts on there for every category. And as part of their marketing efforts, they send out an email every week. And in the email, they'll highlight 3 different experts of a particular field. And 2 weeks ago, they highlighted AI in their newsletter. And I was one of the 3 experts that they picked to highlight in their AI newsletter. So that was pretty cool. I was pretty honored by that. I had no idea that it's something that they did on their own. They kind of surprised me with it. I saw that they had been checking my LinkedIn. A couple of their social media people and marketing people were checking my LinkedIn. So I guess maybe they were just kind of, verifying my background or whatever. And yeah, they selected me as one of their experts, and I was just so honored by that. I just thought that was a really cool recognition. I actually sent them all thank you emails, and I even heard back from Patrick Bet-David himself. He actually wrote me back, so that was cool. But yeah, so if you guys have a chance to access Minect, I think it's a great service. Obviously I'm one of the experts on there, but I've also used it to ask questions of the other experts. I found it to be very helpful. I've had some great clients on there, some really interesting questions from all over. So if you have a chance, please support that site. You can find me on there. But I just think it's a really cool website, really cool concept behind it. And again, I want to send them a shout out as a thanks because, that's completely, it was completely unexpected that they would do that. I literally had no idea. It wasn't a paid placement. I didn't have any money invested or whatnot. I've been on there a while and I have some good reviews. So, I think that helps because, I have been supporting their site. But they chose me on their own, and I just thought it was a really cool honor. So just wanted to make sure I sent them a shout out. So for the first story that has come up, this is coming from multiple sources, where Elon Musk is claiming that Apple devices will be banned from his companies because the data is being sent to OpenAI. So if you saw the recent announcement from Apple from their Worldwide Developers Conference at WWDC, it was 2 weeks ago, they did announce quite a few integrations between the next version of iOS and OpenAI. Well, generative AI in general, but particularly with OpenAI. And they were talking about how some of the data will be sent to OpenAI, right? Some will be processed on the phone, and some will be sent to OpenAI. So, as you also may know, Elon Musk and OpenAI have a little bit of a contentious relationship in recent months. So Elon Musk has made a big show about saying, well, now Apple phones are basically, infected, if you will, because they're going to be sending data to OpenAI. So I think Elon Musk is somebody who doesn't miss an opportunity to grab headlines. So I think that's certainly driving a lot of it here. But I think a big part of it also is just a little bit of a misunderstanding where not every single piece of data will be sent to OpenAI. Only the portions that can't be processed locally on the phone will be sent to OpenAI. And there is a setting, or at least Apple claims there will be, a setting where it'll alert you before it sends the data off the phone and you can decide to continue or not. So I like the approach that Apple is taking. I think, maybe, talking about things like this is a little bit alarmist. Again, it's a great way to catch headlines. So I'm personally not too concerned about, I don't share Elon Musk's concern. I'm pretty excited to see some of those generative AI capabilities come to the phones, and you'll see it in other ways. We'll see it in cars eventually, in other devices and so on. But I just thought it was worth highlighting because obviously multiple sources were reporting the same thing. And I think, I think maybe everybody needs to calm down a little bit. I think that the privacy concerns are a little bit overblown there. Perhaps on a little bit more positive news, another article that caught my eye was coming out of the University of Pennsylvania and some new antibiotic compounds that they are developing. So this really caught my eye because if you keep up with statistics and kind of like World Health statistics, you may be aware that, we are entering what people are calling the post-antibiotic era. A lot of antibiotics are no longer effective on diseases as much as they have been in the past because of overprescriptions, overuse, things along those lines. So to me, that's one of those, meta items that we should all be concerned with, right? To lose access to antibiotics can be a very serious thing on many different levels and really affecting all of humanity. That wouldn't be just a regional problem. So the University of Pennsylvania is they're claiming that it's AI, but it's also machine learning, and they acknowledge that it's machine learning. But they are using machine learning to help find new compounds and to greatly reduce the research time required to find new antibiotics, which is great, right? Because that's usually the most expensive side of development of these drugs, right? So if they can compact that, then it can make the drugs much more lucrative to produce, which a lot of pharmaceutical companies don't do because they're not lucrative. So I'm going to give you the rundown of the notes that I took. I encourage you as a scientist to do your own research because I'm just sharing the notes that I took. Maybe I'm wrong. But what they're doing is that they're saying that the microbes out there contain antibacterial peptides. If you can collect microbes from all over the world and examine the peptides, you can see the antibiotic properties that those microbes have. In other words, how are the microbes being resistant to all of these negative things that are out there, right? So machine learning is being used to both isolate and identify the peptides. So as I said, it's not purely AI. I think they're using AI to catch some eyes, but they're using machine learning to deconstruct the peptides that these microbes contain. They have successfully identified over 1 million potential peptide compounds from those machine learning algorithms. From those, they took 100. They took 100 of the most promising, like reversed engineered peptides, and they were tested against 11 bacterial strains that cause disease in humans. Right? So they took 1 million compounds. They identified 1 million They took microbes from all over the world. They identified 1 million compounds. From those 1 million, they took 100 of the most promising, tested them against 11 peptides. Of the 100 that they selected, the most promising peptides, 63 of them were found to be successful in blocking the growth of bacteria. 63. So they're doing great. I mean, that sounds like a fantastic result. So they have potentially identified 63 new compounds that could be used for antibiotic development, which obviously is a positive thing. And that's only testing 100, the best 100 out of the 1 million compounds that they already identified. So this is a research that could keep going for a while. I mean, I don't know how long it takes to test the 100 peptides, but if they've tested only 100 of 1 million, they've got a long ways to go, right? So I was really excited by this article because this is really just one of those purely positive ways that we can be using machine learning and data science to help humanity, right? I mean, there's basically no downside to doing this type of research, right? So it looks like a really well-formed study. It looks like they have some really good people working on it. UPenn is obviously one of the premier schools here in the United States. So I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on this because I think that it sounds like wonderful research that we should all be excited about, and really just a positive use of machine learning. So wanted to share that with you. That's the perfect type of article that I like reading in my free time. I don't work in bioinformatics. I don't really have a particular interest in it, to be frankly honest. But from a data science perspective, I can still take articles like that, and I can still appreciate the work that went into it. I can still kind of, pick up different research cues that they use, like, oh, that's interesting. I might use that in the future, or things like that. Or I can also just apply my own critical eye. As scientists, we should all be, kind of going through a mutual peer review process about the methodology that was followed. So that's why I pick up articles like this. I don't have any bio clients, or not something that's a lot in my history. I've only done, I think, one contract for a bio company that specialized in women's health. But you're still exercising your skills as a scientist by reading other studies that may not necessarily relate to your particular field. So that's why this caught my eye, and maybe it's something that'll be of interest to you too. So the third and final article that I wanted to focus on was a very, very interesting study. And I think that this is a study that we're going to be hearing a lot more of, or rather a topic we're going to be hearing a lot more of. And that's looking at the global AI infrastructure that's going to be required to power all of these algorithms. As you may already know, generative AI algorithms are fantastic, but they're also very resource intensive, which also means a lot of power, a lot of natural resources that they require. And basically it's required on both ends. It's required on the training end, and it's required on the predictive side, on the runtime side, when you actually go to make predictions and use the algorithm. It's very intense on both of those sides, right? So this is a new report by a company called Precedence Research, and they are predicting that the infrastructure market is going to reach, the AI infrastructure market is going to reach $421 billion by 2033. Now, if you're a smart data scientist, the first question that comes to mind is, well, what is it at now? So in the comments below, go ahead and tell me what you think the current AI infrastructure market is at right now. And remember, 2033 is not that far away. That's only 9 years. That's not even 10 years. This study is looking, kind of close into the future. I mean, not even 10 years. It's like 9 years away. So did you put your prediction in? Go ahead and put in your prediction. They are predicting, put in your guess of what the current market is. So they are predicting 421 billion US dollars by 2033. What is it at right now? It's at 37 billion. So what is that? That's like a 12 to 13x. They are claiming a 13x climb in the size of the infrastructure, of the AI infrastructure market in only 9 years. That is an astounding number. That is some massive growth. I can't remember what the compound rate they gave, but they give a compound rate in the article. But overall, it's like 12 to 13x growth that you're looking at for that market. I think that we should all just be astounded by that number. That is significant growth. And personally, I believe it. I believe it because one of the downsides that I see, and I'll call it a downside, maybe other people don't see it as a downside, but one of the downsides that I see to Gen AI is that it's so cloud-based, right? There's going to be a very quick ceiling that we're going to reach on how much Gen AI we can do on our phones, in our cars, in our home devices, on our local machines. There's going to be a ceiling there. So Gen AI, if we're all buying into that being the future, then we should all be prepared to have a massive number of data centers that are going up all around us, because that's the power that's going to be required. With those data centers, there's going to be a lot of energy consumption, an increased need for renewable resources, things along those lines, because you're going to have massive demands of electricity, basically, to run all of those servers in these brand new data centers. So again, that's an article that really caught my eye. It's massive growth that they are projecting in not a very long amount of time. So I thought it was really interesting. I hope you'll find that interesting too. And again, this is just a great example of me as a data scientist keeping up with the industry. I'm not particularly good at infrastructure. I've never really considered myself an IT guy. I mean, of course I've racked a server now and then, and I know how to control one via ILO settings and things like that. But IT is not really my specialty. It's not really what I do for my clients. But this is still the kind of article that all of us should be concerned with. All of us should be up to speed on, working as part of the industry. So even if you're new to the industry or just getting started, keep up with articles like this, because it's going to help you understand kind of what's going on in the greater scope, the greater atmosphere of data science out there. Okay, so that covers the 3 different stories and the shout out that I wanted to give today. Really appreciate all of you watching. If there's any questions or you have any comments, please put them in the comments below. Would love to see them. I try to respond to every question and comment that's out there, or at least as best I can. Sometimes I'll even do a video response. But thank you so much for joining me for my kickoff episode. I intend to do these weekly, so I look forward to producing more of these for you. If there's an article that caught your eye, also go ahead and send it to me. But really appreciate you guys being here. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.